Hey guys, in this next section here in this video, I just want to pop in before you watch it. Stay tuned until the end to watch, or at least hear, some actual wolves in the wilderness, which was kind of creepy and cool at the end of the night. This is my next day and night at that lake up in northern Idaho on the Canadian border. And after this video, I'm going to head out the next morning towards Montana. So this is my last Idaho piece here. But there was just some really nice, pretty area up there, and some cool lonely moments at night with the wolves howling and a nice campfire. So hope you like these videos. If you like these videos, let me know. I know they're not edited perfect, they're long-winded. I'm not trying to be a creator. I would like to do that. I'm too impatient. I don't have the time right now, but hopefully I'll take some time soon to start getting a better process for these. I know a lot of times people can't watch an hour and a half, so I'm trying to cut them down a little bit. I just go out and I film as I see it, and I dump those videos in with few exceptions, and then just let you kind of know chronologically what I did. So vlogging. But if you have suggestions, just let me know. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, and I'll see if I can add some of that in. So thank you. Here we go. Well, we made it to the morning. It was very cold. 13 degrees right here according to my car. Feels like it. Everything. I left my gallons of water out there frozen like bricks. I was pretty warm though in my car, and this real good cold like this makes the snow crunchy and easier to drive on. Actually, it's not as slippery. So anyway, look at this beautiful day we're about to see. Oh man, wow. North Idaho, cold, but very beautiful. I imagine Vermont and Maine look a lot like this. Maybe I should go there next. We'll get there someday. Very cold though. So we're headed anywhere to find some firewood. Just need a few more supplies. Firewood for today and tonight, and then tomorrow we'll head out to Montana. Oh, it's beautiful out here when the sun is out, which is hardly ever. That's a place. Everywhere you look is gorgeous. because I want to explore this area and buy some land up here if it's possible. I have a feeling it's billions of dollars, if at all available, but we're gonna see. Just going for a little exploration. Couldn't find any firewood yet, so I'm just gonna go look. There's a place called Snow something recreational area. That's all I'm gonna do today, is do a little driving around. These roads are pretty not great, but look at this valley. If I were to predict, I would say within 50 years this will be covered in houses and Dollar Generals and everything else like they do everywhere else. Unless they've got people up here that are going to stop it. But builders don't stop building. They don't care about the nature of the place. The drive up here has been just mind-blowingly beautiful. We're 1 mile from the Canadian border. This is another port of entry here. Port Hill, I think it's called. It's the only place you see a lot of Canadian license plates. But these valleys are just crazy. And I'm sure you can't buy land here because it's so expensive. And probably owned by all the forest paper companies, but just to have access to this during well, any time of the year, but all that's national forest. I guess that's Canada, but U.S. Customs, Canadian Customs. Let's just pull here because I don't really need to go down there. Haha, that's pretty cool. Let's get out and take a look at this real quick. Sorry about the hand. Just gonna take a quick look now. There's Canada. I've been in Canada once, long ago. Probably at this road right here. I actually think it was. This is the end of the Estados Unidos. God, can you imagine a time? I'm thinking even in the 1800s when trappers and hunters were the only ones up here. How do you get to live there or there? Look at that. That's probably a facility, but I mean, some kind of, what kind of crop is this? I don't know. Beautiful. All right. I just couldn't come this far to not come to this particular point of the road. For a person that has to see the end of the road, this is about as end of the road as you can get without getting your passport out and getting yourself into Canada. Beautiful. What a difference, man. I came up from Yuma, which is on the Mexican border. The other side of that is nothing but garbage. The other side of this is freaking alpine paradise. Oh, back on this road. It's looking a lot better since I've got it all driven on. Maybe somebody else has come in here. Sure is nice when it's sunny. Little creek here, I'm sure, but it's frozen solid. This bridge sucks. All right. Yeah, it looks like somebody came in with chains. Maybe a snowmobile. Huh. I hope I don't have to share my campground. I mean, guess I could do that. It is mine. Slow down here. Slow it down. I just love this spring cold with the sun coming through the trees and the snow. It's so cool. Such a memories I have of this as a kid. All right. This is a Forest Service park. Oh man, this is slick. See, now this is completely different than when I came out this morning. It is like ice. But that groove keeps you in place. Gotta keep moving too. You can't stop or you get stuck in one place. Here we go. To the last little turn. Now it is true I can't afford to buy 100 acres here, but I have this. Ah, oh, damn it, somebody is here in my spot. What the heck? Hello? Well, let's find out what this is. Maybe it's the Forest Service. What is going on here? I mean, why would you park right there? There's a whole campground. Kind of weird. Looks like he came in with a snowmobile, which means this is, I can walk on this. Must be a trail up that way. Ah, look at this place, guys. The hawk flying up there. No, he walked and he drugged something. What the hell? What the hell is going on? We'll find out. See what it looks like here in the daytime. It's still nice and cold, but I just can't believe I'm in the middle of nowhere. We got other sites here the guy could have pulled into. He's got a 4-wheel drive and he pulls into my site. It's just bizarre. Whatever. Trying to get away from people and they find you. Anyway, really nice. Granted, they're snowed in, but there is one up here. With that truck he had, he could have got this, or this one right here is already somebody's use, so I don't get it. He's out there on the lake somewhere walking around. All right, let's unpack the car. Get some lunch going. Frying up some steak, some fresh sourdough, some cheese, some coffee on the fire. I have a little bit of that elk meat left from the other day. We're gonna take care of that too. Yeah, when we get done with that, we'll go explore a little bit, go to bed early, hit the road. We'll see what this guy says if he comes up to my camp. I mean, he's gonna have to, his truck's here, so kind of odd. The whole place. Freeze. Nope, gotta park right there. Don't mind the crazy hair. It's been under a hat for a week. Well, I had showers in between, but oh, yeah, got a cut down in Ventura. I like that cut, but it's looking a little crazy. Anyway, we're ending the night here. I had the sound my car was making was not good. It was what I call tapping. And that sounds like oil, right? Oil problem, no oil, low oil. Light wasn't coming on, but whenever I would let off the gas, say I'm going up a hill and then kind of let off a little bit, it would go, it sounded like it was going to blow up. And it was doing that off and on for about a day. And finally this morning, I was like, I got to figure out what's going on. So I pulled off here. I should say pulled off. I was here and I checked the oil and there is zero oil on the stick. Now, before you say, how come I don't check the oil? I change my oil religiously, and I just had it changed in Ventura. And I'm thinking the guy didn't put no oil in there, or he didn't put enough. I mean, there was none. So we had a couple of old fishermen here. This lake back here, the guy that was parked in my spot, let's talk about that. The guy that parked in my spot right there, I was a little bit irritated, like, what the hell, why would you come up here? Well, I realize now why. These guys are locals, old guys. Got to be 75 years old, something like that. Old, retired fishermen from North Idaho. And they had gone out, and I found their tracks, as you saw in another video, I think. They'd gone out with a little sled, and pulled their sled with their fishing gear and cut some holes in the ice and went ice fishing. Now, I've never done ice fishing, but of course, this time of year up here, people do that. I went out and just kind of walked out in the middle of the day and just talked to them and said, hey, what's going on? So they happened to be here, and like most old Idaho guys, unlike me, my father never taught me these skills, but these guys are all mechanics. You know, they got to know their rigs, they got to know their tractors, they got to know all that stuff. So I said, look, I'm checking the oil, I'm checking the stick. There's no oil. Am I looking at this wrong? Could there really be no oil right after I just had an oil change? And they were like, that's weird. So we put a quart in, nothing. 2 quarts, nothing. It would not show on the stick. So they're like, this is really bad. It's weird. How the hell did this car get up here from California if it has that low of oil? Which gives credit to that engine. And I said, well, you know, maybe it takes like 6 quarts then. It must, which is a pretty good amount of oil. So long story short, we put 3 quarts in, 3 quarts. They had a bucket of oil with them. That's what you get when you're an old retired fisherman in Idaho. You got a bucket of oil in the back of your truck. I had 2 quarts on me, but that wasn't quite even enough to show up on the stick. So we got 3. We got a little bit showing on there, and I'm like, okay, who do you trust in town? They told me to go to, Quick Lube, whatever, in Bonners Ferry. Thank you very much, guys. I just ran down there and said, hey, here's what's going on. They did an oil change. Said, hey, it's not leaking. It's not burning oil. That means your last oil change. They put a filter in, but they didn't put any oil, or not hardly any. So thank God I checked it. Thank God those guys were here. I could have figured it out. I did figure it out on my own, but it was good that they were here. Give me a second opinion. They really helped me for about an hour trying to figure out, before you drive this, does it have oil in it? It was weird. Now it's got oil. That problem's gone. And I'm hoping it didn't do any damage to the engine. It doesn't seem to have. So thank God I did that before I got on a long, lonely road to, Montana next. But even out here, I could have drove another 10 miles and the damn thing blew up. So scary. The one thing, you don't want to happen, be stranded out in a place that's got nobody. I would have had to hike into town. It gets down to 10 degrees out here. I'd be in trouble if I couldn't find somebody quickly. There's no internet. There's no phone. So, but I will say this to my own credit. I knew that. And I also preemptively checked that oil while they were here. I thought I'm going to check this thing, make sure everything's cool. If not, these guys can give me a ride to town. And anyway, it worked out really well. Hang on a second. Worked out really well. I'm hoping it worked out really well. we'll see you on we go to Montana. Montana. So here's what you do in Idaho. Anywhere there's snow, really. You dry your boots without melting them, hopefully. I got a backup pair. I've been saving this old worn out roofing boots I've been wearing for claims for years. Just didn't want to throw them away. They're not that bad, but they're not good enough to do work anymore. Perfect for a backup camp set of shoes. So got a nice fire going. Found some more wood. I'm loving this spot, but I'm ready to head home. Look at that hair. I don't know, man. I might stay another day. I don't know. I like this because now that I got things settled in, I'm able to just kind of think, meditate, just breathe, just out here by yourself. It's really nice. Anyway, we're gonna sit here and let this fire go down. I've got a little bit of wood left for tomorrow morning, hopefully. I don't know if it'll make it. It's pretty cold out here, so. That is hot right here. And that log, I don't know if I got video of that. I found out in the woods this morning. Hauled it back. It was 10 feet long, and I stuck it in my truck, thinking it's very dry. If I can somehow shove it into that fireplace, I've been kicking it in as it burns down. And it's been awesome. It's given me a lot of free wood. I had to buy some wood, but honestly, I found some wood up the road, up the hill right here. I just didn't check that spot. So we got some tamarack that's down. A lot of down trees up there. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll grab a couple more pieces if I can find some that aren't locked down to the earth, frozen. But anyway, on to Montana, I think. We'll see. No. I'm loving that fire. Good night, Bonners Ferry. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This kind of thing, I mean, this iPhone doesn't show it, but the moon's out. It's a little bit lighter than this, but not much. And when you're sitting alone in the wilderness, and this is the wilderness, there are grizzly bears out here. Signs everywhere. Wolves. It's not quite like it was 200 years ago, but close. You feel alive. You feel afraid, which is alive. You feel every little noise you hear, every little bark of a dog or a wolf or a coyote. And all you have is this fire. And for some reason, the fire makes humans feel safe. But I mean, it's not really gonna do much. But I've got my back to the lake in the dark. And I got this little center point here that feels like I'm hearing wolves right now. It feels like this is safe. I'm here. I'm safe. Nobody can get me. But it's that old, ancient, and there it is. I think that's a wolf. It's that ancient, ancestral, genetic, human feeling of us against the wild, the wilderness, nature. and stepping out of the woods. This is back in the woods, and I had this same feeling very strong in the Gila the first time I hiked it, because I heard wolves around me. I mean, within probably 300 yards. I mean, very close. And what happens is you just shift into your natural state of, where's my weapon? How do I survive? I got to protect myself. I got to build a fire. I mean, it just goes from human versus animal versus the wild. And part of that is the dark. In the dark, we don't know what's out there. Look at that. That's what's behind me. Can't really see it, but I mean, you get the idea. You have to just kind of trust and be courageous. Trust your fire. Trust your preparation. Have an exit strategy. I got my car right there. I should have a gun. I don't. But I do have a knife and some mace. But there really is nothing's going to hurt me. I doubt if anything's going to come around this fire. But it feels like if this fire went out, it would feel like, oh my God, I'm in the dark, in the forest, in the winter, and I hear sounds, right? That is living. And I'm going to tell you guys this. That is what hikers seek, and through hikers and even campers, though they bring their junk, they bring their city junk with them. This is where we came from. This is where we came from. Whether it's from Scotland or, in Northern Europe, Scandinavia, Africa, South America, we all had to fight off the wild, protect ourselves. And many people die or get hurt. And there is a natural, internal set point where this feels very familiar. I gotta have a fire. I gotta watch my back. And any sounds you hear are like, oh God, what is that? It goes away when you get comfortable sitting in your environment and you start to go, this is a beautiful thing. There's a relationship between me and the beasts out there. And there are beasts out there that can kill me. But I'm okay. I got a fire. It's really fascinating to me why fire is such a big deal, but it is. And when you're in city life, you're living in Tampa and you're driving back and forth to the beach and you're working and you're doing what, you don't get any of this part of you. It never gets triggered. It never gets utilized. And this is the real you. If you could take anyone, even a woke 20-year-old idiot, stick them out here, they're going to feel, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Do we have a fire? And things are going to be triggered that they didn't know they had. Protective instincts, how to find firewood, do I have a place to run to? Am I safe? All that stuff. That's ancient stuff that we all have. And if you don't have it, I hate to say, you'll be killed. And I guess you weren't meant to be here. But got to clean house, right? Got to get rid of the weak. And this is how our species has survived through history in every part of the world. Finding a way to just do the basics of living. Fire, food, shelter, fuel, weapons, whatever you need to do. Hunting, all that stuff is just basic what we are. And I really love getting into these places, and even in these little, slightly nerve-wracking situations where you're like, yeah, I'm 100 miles from anybody. If my wagon breaks down, I'm screwed. Do I have enough food? Do I have enough water? Do I have a way to make fire? If I walk off looking for some firewood and slip and break my leg, do I have a means of creating fire to, stay warm and get back to the camp? Am I protected against animals? All that. That's why I think I'm real connected to this stuff. I'm realizing tonight, and I'll just say this now, I heard a wolf or a coyote. I need to go to Alaska. I'm realizing that is calling me. And perhaps that's the last stage of my journey of finding where I belong. It's hard. And I might be too old to start now. I don't know. I don't have the skills. I don't have all the bushwhacking, boondocking skills, bushcraft. I don't have that. But I feel like this kind of a place is calling me. And this is as much of this kind of place as you can get in America, unless you go to Alaska. So maybe I'll go up there. My sister lives in Juneau. I think I might try it. Anyway, good night, guys. Rambling here. Just appreciating this fire and the dark around me. There's no moon tonight, or I'd show you a glorious sight that I had the other night when the moon came out over the trees. It was amazing. But I think we have clouds. So we'll just nurse this fire until it's time to go to sleep, which is very soon. Good night. Buenas noches. Buona noche. Coyotes. Well, there goes the ranger right there. Take a listen. Come on, guys. Actually, I think that's wolves. Terrifying. Can you hear that? Wow. I don't know if the phone picked it up, but I'm glad I'm sleeping in my car. I know they don't bother you, but that sounds like wolves. It does not sound like coyote. And wolves can hurt you. I'm curious if it's wolves or coyotes. I don't know. It sounds like ghosts. All right. Looking good. That's better. Threw some kindling on there. Now you can see the camp. It's not much to it, but out there is the wolves. Right here is the warmth of the fire. Yes. Look at that moon through the trees.